In Longport, near Burslem, is a master potter's house that once housed part of the Wedgwood family. Now you might think that I'm talking about Wedgwood's big house in the centre of Burslem, but I'm not. This is another house built around the same time by another prominent pottery family. This is the Duke of Bridgewater pub. Or it was, because now it's completely abandoned. This pub backs onto the canal and is the site of an earlier pub. And this was the master potter's house that was connected to New Bridge pottery. Founded in 1822 by Edward and George Phillips. The family had no background in pottery whatsoever, but Edward married Benedicta Wedgwood, who was a ward of Josiah Wedgwood, after the death of her father, Thomas Wedgwood, of Overhouse Works. The brothers made some very famous pottery that we will still recognise today, and they exported it all across North America. But Wedgwood and Phillips aren't the only famous names associated with this site, because the brothers leased the site from James Brindley, because the previous tenants, Lindop and Taylor, went out of business. In its heyday, the Bottom Bridge pottery employed nearly 500 people. But it wasn't to last, because in 1831, Edward was killed in a carriage accident. His widow, Benedicta Wedgwood, sold her interest in the pottery to George, his surviving brother, and he changed the marks on the back of the pottery to G. Phillips, and continued some of the patterns. Unfortunately, George also died young. He was just 45. If it wasn't for the early death of both of the brothers, the Phillips name might have been one of the most famous in Stoke-on-Trent, just like Wedgwood and Dalton. After this, William Davenport took over in the 1850s, and the house became offices. It wasn't long after this that the house became surplus to requirements for the pottery, and this is when it became the Duke of Bridgewater, replacing an earlier pub that was on the site that would have been in the beer garden. William Davenport ran the Bottom factory, which was this one behind this house, and also Top Bridge Works, which was what is the teapot factory now. Most of the factory and the bottle ovens were demolished in the 1960s. In 2000, Steelite bought the site and demolished the rest, but left the pub. It's very sad to see that the building is in this state, and that everyone in the area seems to know the history of Wedgwood's big house, but this one is completely overlooked. Thanks for watching, and if you love local history like this, don't forget to check out my other videos and my website, The Red Haired Stokie.